Welcome back to United Ways Community Talk. I am Jenna Gullo, your host today, and co-hosting with me, Mr. Hansen from the MSA United Way, located here in Bismarck, Mandan.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having you.
That's my only response to that question.
For being here. We're had a fun first segment here, talking about all the updates. I do want to mention to our listeners that October 26th, we have our annual United Way Pancake Breakfast. It is at St. Mary's Central High School. We hope that people come out, volunteer. If you have young children, bring them too. It's a lot of fun. They can help to clean off dishes and serve people and just smile and wear the Live United t-shirt, show their support. So it's a free will offering, St. Mary's Central High School, October 26th. So, Ms. Erickson, we are graced with your presence.
Sure.
Michelle Erickson from the Abuse Adult Resource Center. I've known you, I feel like, almost the whole time I've lived in North Dakota, which will be 10 years in February.
Pretty close.
And I just have to say thank you for everything you do at the Abuse Adult Resource Center, everything you do for our local homeless coalition. You're just a great mom. You're a great person. I almost called you Diane. Diane was going to be here, but she was caught up, Diane Zainhovsky. What's going on over there?
We're busy as usual. October is a nationwide domestic violence awareness month. So we have several events going on, as well as just handling the day-to-day crises in our community.
So last night, we celebrated Take Back the Night.
Yes, we did. We started out with a kind of a silent awareness in front of the Capitol building and held signs with statistics about domestic violence on it. And then we had a local woman here, Sandra Bursay, that did a smudge for us. And
what is a smudge?
Smudge. It's a Native American tradition with sage that basically cleanses you and your area and your thoughts and feelings. And she just walked around with burning sage, and we all partook in that. And then we had a program over at McCabe Methodist Church.
That is so nice. How many people showed up, would you say?
I would say probably about 75.
No kidding.
Yeah, so
Phenomenal.
it's a good turnout. Yep.
That's so nice. And so then the program, what'd that entail?
We had Wayne Stenjum, who's an amazing supporter of us. He spoke.
Our Attorney General.
Yeah, he spoke for us. And then we had some special music. We had some survivors share their stories. And it was just a powerful evening for everybody.
What do you hope people walk away with from an event like that?
Oh, I would hope they would walk away with just the feeling of wanting to help and understand that victims don't need to deal with the abuse alone and behind closed doors, and that they can get help, and there's resources in the community to help them get out of those situations.
And that's so important, because the folks that I have had experience with that have been in that situation, it's incredibly isolating for them.
Yes, it can be. Absolutely. I think that they feel like there's no other options and they can't leave. And I think once they talk with us, we can offer them things like shelter and financial assistance and help finding jobs and going back to school, and they can see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
So talk to us about Pam's House, one of our United Way supported programs, and tell our listeners what it is and what you do.
Okay. Of course, we were extremely grateful and appreciative of all the help United Way gives us, and I think a lot of the agencies in the community network together, and that's what makes United Way and all the support so fantastic in this community. But Pam's House is our emergency shelter, and we can hold about 38 women and children in there, and we are generally full all the time. With the oil impact in the state the last couple of years, between Pam's House and our Diane Zainhovsky Hope House, which is our transitional shelter, we're housing about 50 to 60 women and children every night.
Wow. Isn't that phenomenal? But phenomenal that you have the capacity to help that many women and children. So what's a typical day? And I know there probably isn't any typical day, but what is a typical day at Pam's House? If you're a caseworker there, talk to us about it.
Well, a typical day, I suppose, would be that if there's a typical day, just helping the women either acclimate to living in a shelter or help them get signed up for benefits, housing assistance. If they want to apply for jobs, we'll take them to get applications. We also have an educational program called New Directions, so we'll work with women on how to build a resume, how to interview, how to dress for an interview, just kind of building their self-esteem and helping them, become more independent and be able to live on their own and be free from a violent situation.
And are there many times where it's not just that domestic violence incident that they're dealing with? Are there underlying issues?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's financial issues, there's housing issues, there might be, some addiction issues from just learning how to self-medicate yourself to get through those situations. But we'll try to get people connected to whatever resources they can, and what we can't help with, we'll find somebody that can.
How do people reach out to you if they're in a situation, they're home listening right now, and they just don't know, is it safe to get in touch with you? Will their spouse or significant other find out? Is it at that level? Maybe it's not physical, could be verbal abuse. Do they still have the right to be helped by you?
Absolutely. We have a 24-hour crisis line, 866-341-7009. And that is staffed 24/7 by all of our, by an advocate. And if it's verbal, emotional, if you're just not sure if it's abuse, we will talk to anybody and see what we can do with them. Safety planning is a big thing that we do, just crisis intervention, shelter. Our office is open Monday through Friday. Basically, you can get in touch with us several ways, through our website, our Facebook page, however works for that person.
So, Michelle, what is that crisis hotline number again?
It's 866-341-7009.
866-341-7009. If you're listening out there and you need help, that's the number to call. If you just need someone to talk to help point you in the right direction, Abuse Adult Resource Center will help to do that for you. So what can people do to prevent domestic violence from occurring in the first place?
I don't know that you can prevent it. I think you can get involved to help. And I think that's a part that people are scared to do sometimes when they see a situation at a bar or the mall or whatever, and they feel like it's not right, but they're not sure whether they should do anything. Just get involved. If it's safe to get involved and help that person, then do it. I think, you can volunteer at our office to help. We also have the Seeds of Hope thrift store that always needs volunteers.
I was just at a function this weekend and met one of your wonderful volunteers down at Seeds of Hope, and we're talking about what a great opportunity it is, and how many clients come in where you just give away a lot of that clothing as well, and a lot of not just the clothing, but sometimes needs for new apartments and new households, and yes, how people know that they can turn to the Abuse Adult Resource Center if they have a client in need.
Yes, and I think it's important to know that all of our proceeds from Seeds of Hope go back into our programming. So a lot of the, even though we're giving away things, those things are all going to victims, as well as the funding going back in to help staff our agency and, other costs involved.
So I actually just recently dealt with a situation where I got an emergency call from Burleigh County Social Services for children whose mother, they had been staying at one of the local shelters in town. And when a local church went to drop them back off at the shelter, the mother wasn't there. And so these kids have now been in foster care, and they're at a permanent foster home right now. So what happens in that situation? I imagine if they're living, and does that happen often? And what do you at ARC do when a situation like that arises?
At our shelter, I don't think it happens often. We encourage the moms to spend as much time with the kids as they can, and we set up their, whether it's their busing schedule or taxis bringing them from school or daycare, we help with transportation so that the moms can be part of that daily life and not rely on another agency to give them all that help. So at our shelter, I don't believe it happens that often. But, in our case, we would probably take the kids and then get a hold of mom, and she'd come back if it was something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you do a lot of supervised visitations as well.
We do. We do supervised parenting time and supervised exchanges, as well as supervised phone calls at our Family Safety Center for parents that might not be able to get along or can be in the presence of each other. And so those are court ordered or referred by the social worker or themselves, just so that we can do it safely and have healthy parenting time for kids.
So tell us just a little bit about Hope House, because you do so much more than just that emergency assistance. Hope House is looking at the long term.
Correct. Our transitional shelter, the Diane Zainhofsky Hope House, our residents can stay up to 2 years. And that's where we really try to make that transition from emergency shelter to permanent housing so that they will succeed once they're living on their own. And we work on life skills and educational issues and just hoping to give them all the tools they need to make it.
Yeah, to be self-sufficient,
Correct.
Independent, and healthy and on their own again.
Absolutely.
It's phenomenal work. We thank you so much, Michelle, for everything you do at the Abused Adult Resource Center. We have to take a quick break, but before we do so, join us at United Way's Pancake Breakfast, October 26th. It's at St. Mary.